And I love that. So, you should always be open to conversations, because ultimately, India's entire legacy is about, we are the born liberals in the world.
Yeah.
Our entire civilization, we've never went out and conquered lands and murdered people or plundered resources. We've never done that. India is always associated as a very liberal, giving country. Even when we are spreading our religion, we are doing it via trade. And we are not, holding a sword on your head, or holding a sword on your neck and asking you to convert. Never.
Right.
We just tell you that this is my way of life, and people get attracted. People come and do yoga. People come and go to ashrams, and people do all
Take
of
it or
it.
leave it.
That's the beauty of our civilization. That it spreads because of its soft power. We don't have to use any hard measures for it. So I think India can be a very good example of being that country where everyone is actually free. By making a show out of the intolerance that does not exist, by jeopardizing India's image, by destroying it internationally.
No, but some intolerance does exist, right? Like, even if it is not politically backed by one party, there is always some intolerance in some societies. In all societies.
In all societies,
there
definitely.
There are degrees to which people are intolerant.
So if you say that, now when it comes to intolerance debate, you cannot say that intolerance has only risen after 2014.
No,
that
it's a social phenomenon.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you're saying it, because, mostly people believe, after 2014 only all the conflicts have started in the society.
I think after 2014, because there has been an ideological shift in who is in power, then obviously that side has become louder. And which happens when people gain power, right? From any side.
And you have to look at the two sides of the coin. It's also because one side is in power and the other side is not. And that side wants power. And so the side which wants power is, regularly highlighting the part which will make it powerful again.
Yeah, that's their job also.
That's their job, absolutely. All oppositions do it. But then a line has to be drawn. So certain things are sacrosanct. You can't touch them. For example, national security.
Yeah.
So, it comes to national security. See, it doesn't really matter if I'm a left winger or a right winger. Tomorrow, if another party comes in power and I'm a national security expert, I'm not going to take sides on the basis of my ideology. That's where the ideology has to step back. And I have to think about national security in real terms.
Yeah.
And I have to talk about what makes my nation more secure and the people more secure.
National security threat right now is actually coming from a leftist country, like a communist country.
Yes.
China, right?
Exactly.
So there is no left or right.
And you won't believe, even when it comes to the threat from China, national security experts and people do take a stand over it.
Yeah.
So, Congress goes ahead and signs a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese Communist Party. Now tell me, how can a political party can go and sign a memorandum of understanding with a political party from China, and which is a very authoritarian regime?
Yeah, I think that is what people don't understand about China. Even if it has communist in its name, it is a dictatorship. Like,
it is absolutely a dictatorship.
It is against every principle that a left liberal or leftist would want to stand for.
So
they have active concentration camps where they're putting Muslims in and killing them.
It's a facade, right? They
exactly. So
have
that is
liberals pride themselves on highlighting problems that lie with India. So 24/7, you see all these left liberals on the media debates, in the Washington Post, in the New York Times, and all the international publications. They're writing books on how intolerance is happening in India, how democracy is dead. But then what stops them from condemning what's happening in China?
No. With the first part, I agree with the second part, that I don't understand why people who are on the left in India, they don't criticize China, because China is the most anti-liberal place in the world, right?
In fact, they consider China as a savior.
Right. But I don't agree with the first part, because it is their job to criticize India, whether
Definitely.
China or not. Right?
I am, of course, open to criticizing India because, I will again say that I am a very liberal person,
Right.
and my first identity is as an intellectual, and I would love to, I myself find problems with India.
Society
I find problems with myself.
Exactly.
Why won't I, criticism is a way of improvement. I love India, which is why I'm criticizing.
Right.
Only then we will improve. But then, what I'm trying to say here is that, a lot of it is propaganda. So
the criticism
I'll explain.
of India?
I'll explain how.
Okay.
So when I say that, criticizing India as a political project, I want to tell you that, what we are not aware about, when we are leading our normal day-to-day life.
Right.
So, we are in different professions, we are engineers, doctors, and we are dependent on media.
Yeah.
And knowledge creation is someone's job.
Yeah.
So people who are in the media, people who are in the academia, people who are intellectuals, who write books, they are, then I again explain to you how, every political power needs certain people to justify its existence.
Yeah.
And so national politics does not operate in a vacuum.
Yeah.
We are units in a complete, international system. So we have other countries, their media, their intellectuals, and a country like India, which is rising, a country like India, which is becoming more powerful, is definitely, so we saw, you must be remembering how when China was rising, there were certain complaints of, Uyghur Muslims persecution, or how Tibetans are being treated,
those
or how,
are still there.
yeah, and it always should be there. America, for example, is one of the most, United States of America is one of the most criticized countries.
Yeah.
And it definitely should be there, all countries should be criticized, and it's a healthy thing to do. But when I say it's a political project, why I want to talk about it is because when I was doing my PhD fieldwork, what I discovered was that, I interviewed people from Pakistan. Okay, and now Pakistan is a country where there are two set of leadership. So one is the military leadership and the other is the civilian leadership.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to India-Pakistan relations, Indian people are accustomed to living with a lot of freedom and democracy and everything. We cannot imagine how it is to live in a country where there are two sets of leadership.
True.
So if we have to criticize someone, we'll criticize our prime minister or the the chief minister.
We can criticize anyone.
Absolutely. And we won't criticize our military chief for sure. We would criticize our military chief only for his military strategy.
Yeah, we don't really know who he is.
Exactly. But now let's talk about the political economy of Pakistan. Pakistan is a country where the deep state rules. Civilian leadership is just the facade of who's ruling.
Right.
So Nawaz Sharif or Benazir Bhutto or even Imran Khan, all of them are puppets. The real power lies with the military. The real power lies with the military leadership. And all these people, they have certain way of doing things.
Right.
They have ISI. ISI has so many policies and they study about India all the time. They know about India all the time. They follow us in great detail. In fact, even in their internal political system, they have papers, they have reports dedicated to how to create troubles in India.
Right.
They're always finding fault lines with India.
Yeah.
So, and once they have those fault lines, they're always pressing the wrong buttons. They're always trying to create anarchy in India. So, see, intolerance is always there. None of us is a perfect society.
Yeah.
India, despite all of our talk about freedom and democracy and everything, I can point out two instances of intolerance from my own life or someone else's life that I know.
Yeah.
So it's not something that I'm wishing away or I'm not saying is true. But then you have to look at the politics of it. Using the fault lines of religion, using the fault lines of caste is something which is a political project for Pakistan. Because when it was made, it was born with the inferiority complex that, I am being surrounded by a large neighbor. India is a large neighbor. India is very powerful. And so they branded us as the communal Hindu country. And they started taking this identity of the pure, the original, land for the Muslims, where every Muslim will flourish.
Yeah.
And so they started exploiting our fault lines. And it's a project, the kind of work that they do.
There's another angle to it. Because Pakistan is not a secular country, right? And for a non-secular country, it is very important to have an example to its own people that secular countries cannot succeed.
Absolutely.
So when India succeeds, and it's not just applicable to Pakistan, it's also applicable to China. Now, Pakistan is not secular. China is not democratic. We are the only secular democratic country, non-developed secular democratic country which has survived. So for anybody who's looking to gain absolute power, either through religion or through communism and ideology, it is in their interest to downplay a country or to show their own people that, hey, you know what, a secular democratic country cannot succeed. So I think that insecurity is also there.
Absolutely.